Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a hot minute, and I know this video is way long overdue, but finally home, not at school, and I finally have time to make this video. I finally have time to make this video in quarantine. But speaking of quarantine, in this stressful situation, I hope everyone's staying safe, staying responsible, being indoors, washing your hands, all that jazz. But yeah, we will get through this. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. But yes, now that I finally have time to do this video, I will get right into it. I'm gonna be talking about how to transfer universities, how to transfer to a good university, what the transfer process is like, what the application process is like. And I'll kind of walk you through the whole process. Yeah, I'll kind of break it down by both UCs and private schools, or the Commonapp, just because I did both during my transfer process. So yes, I wrote some stuff down in my journal. So also I'll be addressing some of the questions that you guys have left me in comments, and I've never really, well, yeah, I'll address them now and I'll elaborate. If you're a California resident, the UCs and CSUs will give you priority, just based on your location. They do give priority to California residents, I believe, and the ones that are in closer proximity to you will give you first priority. The first step is really to research. Researching is so important, especially as a transfer, because it's kind of, I mean, you're kind of on your own, because in high school, everyone's doing it, your whole class, your whole senior class is doing it, everyone knows the deadlines, yada, yada, yada. But for transfers, you don't really have like a class. A lot of my classmates will either transfer next year or some are applying, but everyone's just on a different path. So you really have to make sure to know your own information and to know which schools that you want to apply to early on. The earlier the better. So make sure you have a list of schools that you're interested in, research them and narrow them down. Or you don't have to narrow them down, but I mean, just to make your life easier, if you're applying to like 10 private schools, it's kind of a lot. So yeah, just make sure you're applying to schools that you'd actually go to. That's kind of like a tip that I take from high school, because in high school I just applied to like whatever school. But this time around in my transfer process, I really tried to envision myself at that school, and I only applied to schools that I would like really consider going. Make sure you know when the deadlines for transfers are. It's different for each school. For UCs and CSUs, they're all the same across the board. You use the same application site. You use one application and send it to all the UCs or CSUs. So I didn't apply to any CSUs the second time around, but I did the first time around. Very easy, no personal statements, just enter your like personal information, your GPA, the classes you took, I think extracurriculars, and you just send it off. I'm not sure when the due date is. I think it's sometime around November, and UCs are also November 30th, I believe, which are, I think, the same as like high school seniors, but private universities, it's a different case. You have to check your deadlines. But yeah, just make sure to check your deadlines. Make sure to write them down, know when they are so you don't miss a deadline, because that would be terrible. So yeah, UCs, the application is pretty straightforward. It's basically the same thing. It's personal information, GPA, the classes you took, extracurriculars, all that jazz. There are personal questions, personal statements that you do have to answer. I believe you have to answer 4, one of them being mandatory, like you can't choose, but the other 3 you can choose out of the 8 questions that they have. So make sure to read through those questions, and like, I think it's better to read them the earliest, so you can you can start writing, obviously, like the earlier the better, but even just thinking about your answers as you like, you know, go through your school year, like that's really helpful. And also just like drafting something, like even bullet points, taking notes, like, and like seeing kind of like, because you know your experiences and your opinions change as you progress, so I mean, it'd be good for you to kind of like see your mindset early on, and then kind of like learn from that and like elaborate on that and all that jazz. But yeah, I think I started looking at questions during the summer, so I had a good amount of time to just kind of like reflect back on the questions, look at what I said before, and kind of like revamp what I said. So yeah, those are really my tips on UCs and CSUs. They're pretty straightforward. Just make sure to know your deadlines and to know your requirements. But yeah, to know your requirements, on the UC website, they have a whole bunch of resources for transfer students. It's very common to transfer to a UC, so they do have a lot of information out there for you, which is great. I'll link all the resources down in the description. But yeah, make sure they have some majors that you need like GEs, like prerequisites, and you need to take those GEs in order to get in. So make sure to check that. Make sure to know what GEs you're gonna take, because you don't want to waste your time at CC. I know it's cheap, I know it's easy, but like you want to get out of there as soon as possible, you know, at least I did. So just make sure you're taking the right courses. I know a lot of people had to stay another year just because they didn't know what courses they're taking, they didn't plan out ahead, and they just kind of took whatever classes to, you know, be a full-time student. But yeah, just make sure to know what classes you're taking. They have it at the UC website. Another resource that you could use is Assist. I don't know if it's assist.org or assist.edu, I don't know, but I will put the link down below. But basically, it's another resource for UCs and CSUs, and they have like articulation agreements with community colleges in whatever area you're from. I'm pretty sure this is like in all of California. It is only in California though, like only California CCs, I think, count for this. If you live out of state, you might have to just do some extra research and see if your CC already has an articulation agreement with a university you want to transfer to, but some don't, and you just have to follow like the basic GE guideline. So Assist basically helps you kind of see the articulation agreement between your college and the college that you want to transfer to, what courses like they accept, what major courses they accept, and yeah, just kind of like plan out your courses according to, just make sure that they line up and like you're not taking classes that don't count for anything or anything like that, because you don't want to waste your time. Another resource is Getsi. This is for UCs, and I think for CSUs it might just be for UCs, but it's a great like guideline for GEs to take, because a lot of schools kind of like fall back on this and use the Getsi as kind of like a basic requirement thing. So yeah, make sure to check those resources out. Make sure to plan your schedule ahead of time and do your research, and the earlier the better. The more you're prepared, the more you have time to fall back on, because a lot of people don't plan ahead and they end up falling back. They end up falling behind, I guess. Yeah, Key things: research, know your deadlines, know what courses to take, know what major requirements you have to take, and know what GE requirements you have to take. Yeah, and so those are all available online for your research purposes on the UC website, the CSU website, obviously Assist, and the IGETC, which I will link all down below. I will move on to the Commonapp. The Commonapp is a little different just because it's a culmination of all these different schools that are either private or out of state for you. Obviously the Commonapp doesn't include all the schools. I know some schools use their own website, which I don't really have a lot of knowledge on. I used just the Commonapp and the UC app. The Commonapp is pretty straightforward. They tell you the deadlines, but make sure to double check that because sometimes that may be for high school seniors instead of transfer students. So make sure to check the university website and look at the transfer application link or whatever. This is like research is super important for private universities because all of them are different. All of them have different deadlines, all of them have different requirements. So it's really important that you do this research and make sure that you're taking the right courses and you're taking the right amount of units and you're taking the right prerequisites and you're meeting your deadlines. I know for UCs it was just personal statements. There were no teacher recommendations required, and I know that's different for private universities. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but yes, for some of them you do need 1 or 2 teacher recommendations, and you can all do this on the Commonapp. You just obviously ask your professor beforehand, you send them an email, and they do it all online. It's pretty self-explanatory, honestly, just because when you add the school that you want to apply to, they give you all the requirements that you need and all the information that you need. So if you need like an official transcript, like mailed, they'll tell you. If you need recommendations, they'll tell you, or they'll tell you the deadline, all that stuff. But they won't tell you what courses you need and what prerequisites you need and stuff. If any, some universities follow kind of like the IGETC, basic GE requirements. So just check. It's just so important. I'm stressing this so much and I'm repeating myself, but you need to check the university's website and write that shit down because there's no UC system for private universities. You have to do that all on your own. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to figure that shit out. I think UC's required transcripts after you got in and after you said yes to the school and committed to the school. So they didn't need your official transcript until then. However, for some private universities that I was applying to, they needed an official transcript to be mailed to them or emailed to them with my application. So that was a whole nother process. You need to do your research beforehand. I would recommend doing the private universities first if you're applying to any, just because there's a lot of shit that goes into it, especially if you're asking for recommendation letters and you're trying to send out your transcripts. You have to know by when, and also when you're asking for recs, you have to make sure that you give your professor an adequate amount of time to complete it. You can't just tell them a week in advance, be like, hey, can you please write this for me? If they say no, you have to figure it out. So just make sure to do everything early, please. That is just so important. That is just really, really important. Key thing. Know all the requirements, know all the deadlines, and you'll be a-okay. Everything will be great. You will do great. You will be fine. Let me address some questions now. it's really just one question. A lot of the things that I explained hopefully answered the questions that you had. If you have any more questions, feel free to let me know. I've also been getting a lot of questions about ACT testing, SAT subject tests, whatever. Didn't take them in community college. They asked for my scores in the application, but I really don't think it matters because my scores were shit. They were bad. They were not good in high school, but I didn't take them again because I was like, it's really not necessary. Let me tell you, if you take 2 years or more at CC, it is not necessary at all. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. Just focus on your GPA, focus on writing good essays, focus on building good relationships with your professors, like SATs, ACTs, whatever. Don't need them. I just don't recommend taking it again after high school. Like, I just think it's a waste of time and a waste of money. But I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I really don't think it mattered. I think they were just asking to ask. And if you have a high score, like, maybe it'll boost it up a little bit, but I don't think if you have like a bad score like me, it won't drag you down. It won't, I don't know. I really don't think it matters that much. You should just focus on like your actual application and your GPA. Your GPA is what matters the most as a community college student. So really focus on that. Don't focus on the SAT, ACT. I wouldn't recommend taking it. If you want to take it, but wouldn't recommend. Let me just say something real quick. With applications, do not forget financial aid or scholarship deadlines. Do not forget that shit, because if you don't have financial aid or money, extra money to help you go to school, you can't go to school. So FAFSA deadlines are, I think, sometime in March or something. So get it in as soon as possible. Scholarships, always, once again, do your research. Yeah, I haven't really gotten any scholarships. I heavily rely on FAFSA. So yes, I love FAFSA. Thank you, FAFSA, for letting me go to an expensive ass school. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to let me know about the whole application process. If I need to elaborate on anything, if you want more tips on financial aid, just let me know. But yeah, I'm so sorry this video has gone out super late, but please forgive me. I hope this was helpful at all to someone out there, and good luck on your transfer apps. I know it's that time of year when people who applied in the fall, they get their results now, around springtime, so it's very exciting times, very anxious times, I know, but I'm very proud of you wherever you go, whatever you do. You should be proud of yourself. It is definitely an accomplishment. So yes, good luck. Everyone stay safe, and I will see you next time.